Good afternoon, my friends, and welcome to Lawyered Up. I'm a Florida trial lawyer and former police officer Patrick McGinn, and I bring you news and information on guns and the Second Amendment from around Florida and around the country. More fireworks and just political theater in the H.R. 1808 assault weapons ban hearing that I'm going to bring to you. It's just out of control. It's amazing. It passed committee 25-18, so it's going to go to the full House, and I'm sure it'll pass the House. But before we get to that, I'd like to bring you some other news that I'm sure is on the top of your list of things you want to know. The city of Chicago has selected the pace car for the Chicago Grand Prix, and it is pictured here. It'll be on display on Michigan Avenue for the next week. In other news, if you plan to take your air rifle to the city of New York, do not take your bead blaster. Apparently a bead blaster is an air rifle that shoots water gels. They're illegal, like everything else in the city. Big surprise, huh? Now, getting back to the H.R. 1808 hearing, like I said, it did make it out of committee. It was in markup in the committee. Markup is where they make amendments to the bill. I haven't read the bill that actually got out of committee yet, but I'm sure it's just as bad as the original bill, if not worse. During the hearing, several Congresspeople spoke out. One of them, which was particularly interesting to me, was Congresswoman Veronica Escobar. She's a Democratic Congresswoman from the El Paso area. And she tweeted out this after her video appearance at the hearing. And I thought the best response to that was from Bismarck the cat. Number 3, when mass shooters switch to the next gun, you'll try to ban that one too, which is absolutely correct. It used to be a couple years ago they would all say, oh, we're not trying to ban your guns, we're just trying to institute common sense gun control, common sense gun legislation. Now it was gun safety legislation. Now they're showing their true colors. It's an all-out ban. This is exactly what Canada did. They banned assault rifles, and a few years later they banned handguns, and they're getting ready to ban lever action guns and pump shotguns next. So this is what they're trying to do. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, this is unconstitutional in the light of Bruen, the Supreme Court decision, which came down a couple weeks ago. They don't care. It's an all-out assault. The Democrat gun grabbers they know they're in trouble. They're pushing this through. It's my opinion they're trying to push this through, knowing that it'll fail in the Senate, so they could say, hey, we tried, but the Republicans stopped us. It's going to be ugly this November for them, and they're just hanging on to anything. And Supreme Court opinions be damned. We're seeing that in California, in New York. They're just going left and right with the gun control. Gun control is worse than ever in California and New York after the Bruen decision, the new laws that they passed through. And of course, even if it is unconstitutional, and a lot of it, if not all of it, probably is, you still have to wait for it to make its way through the court system before you can get an injunction on it. But it's bad all around. I'm sure it'll pass the House, the full House on a vote. When it gets to the Senate is where it'll run into a problem. But as I always say, if there's one thing that politicians do great, that's disappoint you. So they need 10 Republicans to vote for this, and I doubt they're going to get it, but I'm cautiously optimistic. I don't think they'll get past the filibuster, and I think it'll die in the House. Then they'll just use it for their political agendas during the midterm. But it's one of the few things they'll be able to talk about, because they sure can't talk about the economy or anything else. Anyway, when I last read the bill, there was an exception in there for law enforcement. Law enforcement won't be impacted by the assault weapons ban, which is good for the Congress lady here, because apparently she is in law enforcement. She is a member of the New Charlie's Angels. Here she is pictured with what looks like a Beretta 92. Notice the trigger discipline. She obviously knows her stuff about guns. I mean, that picture just says it all. Anyway, this bill was introduced by Mr. Sicilini, David Sicilini from Rhode Island. He introduced H.R. 1808, and he had some teaching aids with him today, and he was able to use those teaching aids and just drive his point home. And I would just like to play for you a minute his comments about the stabilizing brace. So here we have Mr. Sicilini's committee comments about his expertise on the stabilizing brace, the pistol stabilizing brace.
I move to strike the last word.
Gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I rise in opposition to the amendment. What this stabilizing brace, which is depicted here, when attached here, it turns this weapon into an automatic weapon. It becomes a bump stock. And so it will allow that to essentially be fired like an automatic weapon. That's the danger. So I have to very strongly oppose the amendment. And I yield back.
And, there you have it. Obviously, Mr. Sicilini, he is a firearms expert, and he knows what's best for us better than all of us, like Miss Escobar and all of them. But I think it's come to a point where, on this issue, especially on this issue, in this political environment and in society nowadays, I think the time for compromise is over. I don't think there's any more compromise. In the past, compromise has been what the gun grabbers want and what we're willing to give away. We've never gained anything in a compromise on Second Amendment issues or gun control or gun safety measures or anything like that. And they claim it's all about safety when it's not really about safety. Gun control is absolutely about people control. If it was about safety, for example, in the language on the secure storage requirement, they would give you tax breaks for gun safes. You want people to store guns safely? Give them tax breaks. Give them a full write-off for their gun safe. I have no problem with that. I'll be stuffing and buying gun safes left and right and stuffing guns in them. But like I said, it's not about safety. It's about total control. And at this point, I have lots of friends who are on both sides of the issues, and I speak to them often. And it's come to a point where it's not. I mean, I've always been of the opinion where you should, engage in dialogue, but I think it's moved past that at this point. The country's so divided politically, especially on this issue. I just don't think that, that the sides are going to get together and they're going to make legitimate efforts to compromise or to work together. You have one party saying yes, 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 and the other party saying no, 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 and that's where they're stuck. Neither is willing to budge. I don't think we should budge on this issue. I think the times of us giving up our rights are long over, especially in light of Bruen. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Anything else you would like me to comment about this? It's going to move into the full House. I'll keep an eye on that, and I'll report back anything that I see there. If there's any other issues you'd like me to comment or answer questions on, particularly on Florida law as it applies to firearms or anything like that, please let me know. I have a video coming out. I've been getting a lot of questions from my other social media sources, and I've been getting these for the last couple of years, but I'm getting a whole lot of questions about red flag laws. So I'm going to do a video on red flag laws in the coming days. Anyway, if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe, share with your friends. I need to grow this channel a little bit. I think I have 10 subscribers, but I'm thankful for my 10 subscribers, and thank you for everybody for the time you spend here at Lawyered Up. We really appreciate it.